If you have kids in the house, you are still figuring out what the beginning of the school year will look like. The Michigan Legislature passed some bills a few days ago, but there is still a lot of concern about budgets, potential layoffs, school plans, and teachers. I caught up with Amber Arellano, who is the executive director of the Education Trust Midwest, for what this all looks like for Michigan.
Really, what do you make of what came out of Lansing and what kind of impact that's going to have for our districts?
This is maybe one of the most historic moments for public education, really in modern recent history, certainly maybe in the last 50 years or more. And I think it was really important that Governor Whitmer and the legislature finalized that package. Schools need to know sort of what the protocols are going to be for going back to school, how much flexibility they have, what kinds of data they're going to be collecting on their students. I think one of the highlights in the package was that the legislature made sure that they're actually going to be looking at how well students are doing when they come in, so that they can actually take a look and see if they've had learning loss over the last several months, and then teachers can calibrate their instruction to meet every child where they're at.
What about, though, when we think about what this school year is going to look like and leaving it up to each individual district to make sure that they can do what they need specifically for their community? To me, it's the massive concern of the equity of what we're seeing is the gap is going to get even worse.
I think the challenge right now for the whole country, but it's certainly in states like Michigan that are so decentralized in terms of our education system, is how do we ensure that the most vulnerable students are going to be fully supported at the levels that they need to. They need digital access and internet access. It's not just in urban areas, it's in working class areas. It's in middle class communities where parents may not have enough devices in the house. And it's really in rural areas where internet access has been spotty. I mean, there's been new research that has shown that more than 40% of students in Michigan in the spring didn't actually have digital access to even go online to do their classes in the spring. So those are all huge concerns. And then the issues around health in communities of color in particular, where COVID rates have been the highest, particularly in the African American community. If parents are sick or children are sick, hard to be doing quality learning at home when mom or dad was really ill.
What are your biggest concerns when you see some of these plans that are laid out right now for the teaching ranks?
We talk to a lot of teachers every week, and we're hearing teachers that are considering staying home to support their own kids. They don't feel like they can do their best for their students and their own children at the same time. Teachers that may not have younger children that are really energized about stepping up and really leading at this moment for their students in their classroom. I think one of the biggest challenges right now for districts and staff in classrooms is that the federal government has not decided on what this new stimulus package is going to look like. And so states, including Michigan, are waiting to hear literally on hundreds of millions of dollars and how much they may get and will we get it. It could mean the difference of a few layoffs in a district compared to like 20% of the teaching force. And so it is urgent. It's just really like, how do we open schools without it?
What would you say, Amber, to parents in terms of that advocacy role going into this fall? What should parents be, I guess, on the lookout for, or what should they be trying to do for their kids and for their district to try to get the best or do the best that they can?
It's important that state level policymakers prioritize public education, try to protect it as much as possible. It is really hard to do that. We do expect there will be budget cuts, but we're hopeful that lawmakers will understand that this is not the moment to find those additional dollars in the public school budget. I think this question about equity that you raised in the beginning of the conversation, I think it's important that not just parents of color or rural or urban parents, but all Michigan parents say equity is important. we care about not just our kids, if we live in a middle class district or an affluent district, but we care about all kids. It's important that immigrant kids, it's important that low income students, it's important that students with disabilities also get a fair shot at a quality education this school year. And that means protecting them as much as possible, shielding them from the most drastic of budget cuts. So I think it's a moment of empathy, not only for teachers, for parents, for students, but especially for families that have so many challenges in making sure that their kids have an opportunity to learn at a high level. And every kid deserves that.